Good morning, friends. Welcome to goonlinetrainings.com. So let us understand how to create SSRS report. So let us understand that today. So go to start and all programs and SQL Server 2014 or 2012, whatever you have installed. I think 2014, I don't have the Visual Studio installed there. But when I go to SQL Server 2012, I have SQL Server Data Tools is installed. So this is the tool for SSIS and SSAS and SSRS. So click on this tool and you have to go to File, New, Project. And when you go to the Business Intelligence here, and we have Reports of a Project Wizard and you have Reports of a Project. So when you go for the Reports of a Project, you should be able to create any kind of a project and any kind of a report. Wizard means you can create only simple reports using a wizard. So instead of taking this wizard, let us use this so that you can create complex reports. So internally, it is taking .NET 4.5 version, okay, that you have to understand. So these tools internally having a .NET version of 4.5. So click on this and give the demo or name of the project. So SSRS demos, and I am storing the project inside the demos and click on OK. So choose this and give the name here and give the location. I'm giving D demos, D drive. I'm storing all these projects. Click on OK. So click on OK. Now project is being built. Now when you go here, you'll have Solution Explorer. And if it is not there, then you have to go to View menu. You will be able to get Solution Explorer in this. Okay. So you have shared data sources, you have shared data sets, and below you have a reports. Okay, so let me create a first report. Right click on this and you have to say add new report. Okay, so right click on this, add new report. So when you go here and it is saying select data source from which to retrieve the data. So yesterday we had created a couple of steps. Do you remember what are the couple of steps? So first we have to take a project and then add a report. Then later we said, create data set. Then we said create create data source and create data set and add data region, right? And format the report and save and preview. These are the steps we had seen yesterday. Okay, so these are the steps to create report. So create a project, then add a report, create data source, data set, add data region, format the report, save and preview, and finally build and deploy a report to web or report server, you can say. So now I had taken a project, this is done, and add report now I'm doing. Then later I have to perform create a data source. Now I am here. Now when you go here, welcome to the report wizard, click next. And it is saying new data source. Now let me give the name, say iBank data source. And now I told you we can connect to any data source in this world. We have SQL Server Azure. Azure means this is a SQL Server in the cloud. So you can have hardware as infrastructure, software as infrastructure. So you need not buy hardware and software. You should be able to create your databases, everything in the cloud. That is Microsoft SQL Azure. Then you have data warehouse. You can have OLEDB driver or SQL Server Analysis Services or Oracle ODBC is another driver, XML, reports our model, Microsoft SharePoint, SAP, Hyperion, Teradata. If something is not here, you can use ODBC or OLEDB drivers and you should be able to connect to that. Okay. Now what we're going to do, uh, you may connect to Oracle or you may connect to SQL Server. Let me use SQL Server. Click on edit. So server name is, you can say dot. Dot means local SQL server, local default instance of SQL server. And the databases you can select whatever be the database. I have iBank. Click on test connection. It is succeeded. So click on OK. Now you're able to perform the create data source. Now the next step is that you have to go for the data set. Data set means, I told you, data set means a query, or it can be a view, or it can be a stored procedure, or it can be a user defined function, or it can be a MDX query. Okay, you may write anything here. So these are the things are known as data sets. Now let me go to this wizard. So click on next. It is saying query builder. You should be able to use this query builder, and if you wanted to drag and drop something, or the better thing is that you can write a query. So let me go to the SQL server, and I'm using a iBank. There is a table called a master table, and I'm going to use this, or you can use any table whichever you have. So let me select, start from the account master table. I have account ID, name of the account, address of the account, branch in which has opened the account, and we have different products. One is savings bank, loan account, fixed deposits, recurring deposits, data of opening an account, clear balance and unclear balance, and the status of the account, whether it is open or closed or inoperative. Inoperative means if you don't do any transaction for a 6 months, automatically it will get inoperated. So it will get inactivated. Okay. So I have some bank customers data that I wanted to use in this. So let me take only few columns. So let me have account ID and name of the customer, and probably C balance and the data of opening an account, and branch ID also I wanted to have. Okay. So I can have some product ID as well. So this is the data I wanted to have. Okay. So let me take this, copy the query and go here, and you have to paste. Okay. Ensure that the query which you have written is working fine. You have to test it and copy and paste the query. Don't directly put the queries here. You have to test and copy and paste it here. Then when you go for in this, you have a tabular model, you have a matrix model. So when you click on this, it is giving you a wizard. Wizard means you will not be able to create very complex report, but one or two types of reports you should be able to create. Tabular means this kind of a report. Matrix means this is the kind of a report. So let us talk about the difference later. So choose tabular model and click next. And it is saying what columns you wanted to keep where. Now I take branch and I'm going to keep it here. When I click on a page, so it is nothing but grouping by branch. So page level grouping is going to happen. So when I remove this and now click on group here, so this is when you see the yellow highlights here, it's going to tell you that it is subgroup. Okay, remove this. Now let me place here. So this is a page level grouping, and I wanted to have like that, and later remaining data I wanted to have it here. Okay, now you can also take this up, you can also take this down. Okay, Now, if you want to remove something, remove. Or if you wanted to add something here, you can have like this. Okay. Now I wanted to have, so account ID, name, clear balance, like that, some data, and click on next. And you can choose one style. So whatever be the style you wanted to have, these are the predefined styles you can have. So let me click on ocean, click next, and this is my, say, sales report. This is the name of the report. Okay, now finish. Now tell me what all we had seen in this. Data region means we are talking about tabular report or matrix report. Format the report. We had taken some styles, ocean style, then save and preview. So these steps have been completed. Now let me go here. And the report design, this is where you have created the report and you have to save and click on preview. And when you click on a preview, you should be able to get the data and you will be able to see the layout also. When you click on a preview, what is going to happen? It is going to go to the database, iBank database. It's going to get the data from the database. Now, so sales report, BR1 is the branch. Now you can click on next page, next page. So every page, one branch because we had done grouping by branch. Click on this like that. So I have 8 branches or 9 branches totally. The branch number 9 in the last page. Go to the first page and go to the next page. Like that, you should be able to get the reports. Now, if you wanted to download this report, simply go here and you have XML, CSV, TIFF, PDF, and lots of other formats are there. I want to download this report. Click on this button and click on this. Now I go to desktop and say sales report PDF. Now I have downloaded. So when you go here, now you should be able to get your PDF sales report and this report is here. Okay. So now sales report PR1, you should be able to get this report very neatly and one page, one branch. Okay. Another page, another branch. This is what is called, grouping by page. BR3. And when you go here, BR4 and BR5 and like that. So you're able to get all the pages neatly, which is created and it is also dumping. Okay. Now, you can also download the same report to the Excel. So go here and click on Excel sheet and desktop and sales report and go here. And there is a sales report here as well. So you should be able to get, so here BR1, BR2 like that. And you have lots of things that you should be able to create. So each, you know, uh, branch data is available in different sheet. People may ask you in the interview, I wanted to get each branch or each city data in separate sheet of the Excel and what would you do? You have to say that we have to create a group by page. When you create a group by page, when you export the data, automatically you should be able to get the data like this. But people would ask you, whatever be the branch name, here the same branch name has to come here. Okay, for that we have to do some settings, so that I'm going to tell you. So for example, when I go to sheet 1, by default it will come sheet 1, but I wanted to have sheet name as BR1, sheet 2 as BR2, sheet 3 as BR3. So how can you get this also? Okay, I will tell you. So these are the things you must understand whenever you export the reports. So when you give spaces like this, and you should be able to get the clear date formats and all, and keep this report. So it is very, very simple. Anybody can download, but only thing is that only developer can do this because the SSRS designer is available with the developer. Now developer is creating a report, developer is downloading a report. Okay, so if you don't like this report, this color, simply click on this. Now when you go and there is a foreground color and you have background color. If you don't want to have the same color, you can change this color or for all cells. Click on this. You can have like this, or you can also have I wanted to have alignment need to be changed. Alignment need to be changed. So central alignment, I'm doing it. So you can have like this. Now, fine. Now I wanted to increase the space here. So I wanted to this also. I wanted to change the font to say blue color, and I wanted to have centrally aligned, and I wanted to have underline. So this also I wanted to have different font color, and probably this is the font color I wanted to have, and I wanted to give like this. So lots of changes you can do and go to the preview, save and preview. Now it is, it's good. Okay. So like that, you should be able to create reports. If you don't need this kind of a date and time, you should be able to change this, things. So when you go to the design model, so I wanted to have some more space here, increase like this. And I wanted to go right click on this and go to text box properties. When you go here, you have a number, and you should be able to get date. I wanted to have this kind of a style. Okay. So probably this is the style I wanted to have. Now save and preview. So you will not be able to get the time. So that you should be able to change. So I have a clear balance. This is a currency, and I wanted to have only 2 decimals, not the 4 decimals. And I wanted to have a symbol of, a dollar symbol I wanted to have. So for that purpose, we have to just go here and click on the below cell and right click on this and text box properties and go to the number, and you have a currency here, and decimal places you have to increase or decrease or put it to 0 or put it to 2. And when you come down, you have lots of symbols, United States English, and when you come down, you will have Italian lower, Serbian, Germany, I think it is. Lots of symbols are there when you come down, and including India and other countries also you can have. And we have rupees English India, and when you come down, you have Arabic, and you have uh, Kachak, and you have Sakha. Lots of symbols are there. So whatever be the appropriate symbol that you should be able to put it. And we have Hindi, this is the symbol. And we have, when you come down to the Indian languages, we have Bengali, Punjabi, Gujarati. And when you come down, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam. So lots of symbols from different, states and different countries is available. So whatever be the symbol you wanted to have, you can have. So let me use the symbol for English. Okay. So English United States, and click on that and show symbol after value or include a space. If you need some space, you will get some space and a 2 decimals, and click on OK. Okay. Now you save and preview. So when you save and preview, you should be able to get like this. If you don't like central alignment, then make it to left or some right alignment. So whatever you wanted to have. And let me preview this. So when you click on preview, and this is the data in different this one, and you're able to see only 2 decimals. Have you seen like that? You should be able to do some kind of a minor changes, and this report is now ready with the developer only. So this report is not viewed by the end user, because end user is somewhere else. I am creating this report in my laptop. Now, how do I make this report public? You have to deploy this report to the report server. Okay. Now, when you go to the design, and if you wanted to modify something, lots of things you should be able to modify in the design. When you go to design, so you can change font color, this color, foreground color. If you wanted to change a font color, click on this, and I wanted to have something else like this. Okay. Or I wanted to change foreground color, you should be able to take like this. Okay. So lots of things you can change easily. Now, let me go to Solution Explorer and right click on this, and always you get RDL file. So when you create a report, you should be able to get RDL is the extension, and by default it is an XML file. right click on this view code. When you click on a code, you know that it is going to give you XML code. Now this is the code you should be able to see. Okay. Now when you come down and down, whether it is going to maintain any data, answer is no. XML file is not going to maintain any data. It contains only the code. Okay. So it never contains the data, always which goes to the SQL Server database. It executes this query, which is part of this report, and you should be able to get the data. Now, where is your query and where is your data source information? So now format it is able to show you, and each and everything will be shown here. And this is the code. There is no data. You will not be able to get any kind of a data here. Be clear. And when you go, so are you able to see this? Now let me copy and paste. Okay. These are data sources. Let me open a notepad and paste. Okay. Now, can you see data source equals to dot and initial catalog equals to iBank. Now, so there is a property called data source property where you should be able to, store only the data source. And tomorrow when you change the connection, automatically this will get modified, always which goes to this database and gets the data. Now, one more thing you can see data set. Okay. When you go to the data set and you should be able to find out your query. Okay. Now data sets, we are able to see whatever the query we had it in here. So like that, the RDL file contains data sources, data sets, connection strings, and lot of information it is going to maintain. So people may ask you, what does RDL file contains? So you have to say RDL file contains formatting issue for formatting, values that is going to contain the data sets, data, sources, formatting, body. These are the things it's going to contain. So be clear. So people may ask you, what are the, what does, okay, what does RDL file contain? Okay, you can say that it contains, data sources, data sets, and format properties. Okay, like we have specified currency and we have specified, date, time, and alignment. Okay, and the font color. So all these things it is going to contain. So data sources, data sets, and it is going to contain so different styles and body and groups. Okay, formatting and whatever the groups we have created on the pages, and it's going to contain. So data sources, data set, format properties, and groups, and all of them it's going to contain. So you have to say like this. Now once you create this, and if you wanted to view, and you can view like this, never tamper or try to modify anything here, it may not work properly. So never do any such modifications in this. Now you're ready and you should be able to view the report. So when you right click on this and create a add new report, you will be able to get add a wizard. Okay, using this wizard you should be able to create your reports. Okay, when you right click on this and view code, you should be able to get your complete code over here. So this is how people should be able to create their reports. Are you clear? So I don't want to create a report like this. I wanted to create a report with this. Then you should be able to use add and a new item. This is the one you should be using and to create a complex reports. Now the question is that I'm able to get the data, I'm able to see everything is fine. Now this report is available only to the or developer, but how do I make this to public? So how a manager of my company wanted to see this report? He's in UK, or he may be in India, he may be in Australia. He wanted to see the report online. So how do I deploy this report to my report server? Okay. Now what we have to understand, the next thing we have to understand, report server configuration. Report server configuration I wanted to have now. So the last step is build and deploy the report. So now first, if you wanted to build and deploy the report server, and you have to configure report server. Okay. Now let us understand the report server. Configure report server is there. So when you go here, we have created a report. Okay. And this report needs to be deployed to the report server. Okay. And from here, you have, this is what is your designer, SSDT, or report designer. Okay. And this is going to be used by a developer. And you had created a small sales report here. And let us say this is your sales report. Okay. Now this report you wanted to have as part of your report server. Now, what is a report server? Let us understand. So when you go here, a report server would be your web server. Web server means what? It can host a website. For example, I take a computer, I install, SQL Server or Oracle there, and the computer is known as a database server. And if I take a computer and if I install a any kind of a to store my web pages and to store my HTML pages, I have to install a software. So if I install IIS, so internet IIS is from Microsoft. When you install this, then your server will become uh, web server. Web server means which can host your website. Like that, you can have Tomcat from Java people, or you have something else. So when you install IIS is part of your Windows only. So if you wanted to host your website, you have to have IIS needs to be installed as part of Windows. So then only your laptop, your computer can host your website. Clear? So what is IIS? Internet Information Server, and it is part of Windows. Now if I install a Oracle or SQL Server, it will become, my laptop will become a database server. When I install IIS, it will become a web server. Now, it was in 2005 and 2008, we supposed to install IIS in our laptop in order to deploy my, reports to the uh, report server. Now IIS is not at all needed to create your web server or host your website. So only thing is that you have to install report server. When you install a report server, your laptop, your computer can act as a web server. Web server means which can host your website. So end of the day, I wanted to show my report in the web. That means what? I have to keep my report in the website only. So that's you have to understand. So step number one, how do I make my laptop as a web server? Only that you have to install reporting server software, SSRS software in your computer. So once you do that, it is needed. But in the earlier days, we were installing IIS also. Now it is not at all needed. Clear? Now what we have to do it here, we have to create two virtual directories. So virtual directory means it is not a real directory. And so you can have a name to the virtual directory. So let me go here, and the directory name is normally say report server is one of the virtual directory, and one more direct. Virtual means not real. That is the meaning of that reports. For example, I go to some, so you should be able to see some kind of a shortcut symbol. So when you click on this, you're going to go to that path. When I click on this, I'm going to go to that path. So what is the meaning? It is not a real directory. This is a virtual directory. What is the meaning? So using this path, you should be able to go to the real directory. So shortcuts are nothing but virtual directories. So using the path, you should be able to go there. Now, this you have to configure. Okay. Virtual directory number 1 and 2, and this virtual directory, you have to give this address to the end user. So you can think this is a door number 1, this is a door number 2, and the end user is the person who is able to come to uh, using this URL. He should be able to connect to this, and what is the URL he will be able to get? So he's an end user. Okay. And the URL could be for him HTTP. Okay. And we have to provide server name // virtual directory name. Okay. And click on this. And this is the path you should be able to use. Virtual directory name, and with the help of this is going to use this. Now we have one more guy, and that guy is called as a DBA. DBA also, he should be able to connect to this, but his database administrator, and for him we have to use a different thing, server name and virtual directory name, and the virtual directory name for him is the reports. Okay. Now what is the address? For example, my computer name is HTTP. So my computer name is, let me say, Kedar, and / what is the virtual directory name? I'm going to give you reports for him, and this is known as his virtual directory or his door to connect to the reports. Okay. And this guy will have / report server, and whenever you have a report server will have to connect to the one more SQL server. And inside the SQL server, it is going to have two databases, database number 1 and database number 2. And the database number 1 is known as, okay, it is a report server database. And one more you have, it is a temp database. Okay, two databases it's going to connect. One is report server database. Next one is, RS temp DB, reports our temp DB. Always, this fellow will be connecting to these databases, and this is what is your SQL server. Okay, some information is going to store here. Okay, that means what? Whenever you configure your report server and to deploy the reports and all, the reports are going to have three important configurations. One is that you have to create two virtual directories in using which the end user is going to connect to the web. So he's going to use HTTP server name Kedar / the virtual directory name, whatever be the virtual directory. You think that virtual directory is a door name. So when you use one door, I will be able to view reports. So end user, what he can only view, or will have read only reports. Okay, he cannot have any other permissions. So here we can have read and write permissions. Right means we are not talking about the data changes. We're talking about the look and feel. So DBA can have read and write permissions, and end user will have read only permissions. And this is how the people are connected. Our entire world is connected to the report server. And what you have to do, this report developer will build So they have to build and later they have to deploy. When you build and deploy the report, what is going to happen? A copy of the report will be coming and it will come here. Okay, a copy of the report will come here. The copy of the report is stored internally in this report server database. Now this is your RDL file. So here the RDL file gets stored. So tomorrow when you remove this portion also, if you remove this portion, if you format the laptop of yours, then one copy of the report is already stored, then people can easily view the reports. So whenever end user goes to the gather/reports and end user is going to get the report from here and he should be able to get the data like this. So end user is going to get, and the same thing the DBA also can view and he should be able to get. So whenever they're clicking on a report, it will go here and open the RDL file, and RDL file will have data sources and data sets, and it will go to that SQL server. For example, we have one more SQL server here. So inside that, you have one more database called iBank database. Now, always you have to come to this SQL server, or it can be Oracle also. Okay. And this is your iBank database. Okay. Always this fellow will be coming here and getting the data always from this database, and he will be able to get the data, and he's going to keep the data in the temporary DB for some time at the time of viewing the reports. You get the data, put the data in the temporary space, and at the time of viewing the data reports, everything will be available here. So as soon as you close the reports, what's going to happen? So all the temp DB space will be, it will be truncated. So it will be freed out. So nothing will be there. So like that, whenever you open any report, so whenever you deploy a report, a copy of the report will come here. Whenever you view the report, it is going to take the RDL file and goes to the iBank database and reads the data from there, and it is going to keep the data for some time. And during his view, during the time of viewing, that time only the data is available here. So later the data will be removed from the tempdb database. Now when you close the connection, everything will be removed. So remember that always you get the fresh data from the database only. For example, I go here. Now I say we have Praveen S here. So let me change this. So I say update account master, a master, and I say name equals to say John. Okay, name equals to John, and I say where account ID equals to 101. When I execute this, now the data has been modified. So the data has been modified. You have John here. Okay. Now when I go to the report, I'm able to see Praveen S. But now when you refresh, there is a refresh button. You're able to get John in this. Have you seen this? So what is the understanding of this? Report server is not going to store your data. Remember this point. Report server always gets the data from the data source. It is not going to keep a copy of your data. Never it does by default. If you wanted to keep a copy of the data, then you have to use a caching technique that we discuss later. So as of now, always which goes and which gets the data, a fresh data, live data from the data source. But only one issue is that whenever you execute this query, this may be a single line query today and it's going to execute very fast. But tomorrow, if I have lots of table are joined and I'm using group by clause and I'm running the query, and the database is also having lots of data, then definitely the reporting server will become very slow. Okay. When you have large amount of data, when you have lots of complex queries when you return, and definitely it is going to give you lots of issues like this. Clear, guys? So in that case, if you want to improve the performance, you're going to cache the data. Cache means all the data which it got, it is going to store in the report server DB for some time, and the cache will have expiry. After some time, what is going to happen? The cache also will get expired, and you will get every 1 hour it has to expire or every 1 day it has to expire. You have to give the value automatically. It is going to go to every 1 hour and get the data freshly. Okay, so till that time you will get older data only. So that is the caching technique we'll discuss later. So whenever you modify something here and whenever you know refresh the query, always which is going to get the fresh data only. Are you clear? So this is what you have to be clear with. So now you may change this to something else. Say, sorry. So let me have any other name. You can say James. So when you execute, now the data has been modified here, and when you go, it is still John, then you have to refresh. Clear? So you should be able to do this. Now, once you create a report, and what are the things you have to, understand? Okay. So one is that you have to, deploy the report to the people, deploy the report to make it online. So when you make when you make a deployment, what is going to happen? The copy of the report will be going here and it is going to go. So when you remove this computer also tomorrow, this will be available in separate server. So report server will be a separate server and it is connecting to one more SQL server where you may have report server and a TempDB databases will be created, and you will have one more SQL server Oracle from where you're able to go and get the data. Clear? But in my laptop, everything is everything is in my laptop only. Now this SQL server, everything I have in my laptop only. Are you clear? So now let us configure this. So configure report server. For that, you have to go to all programs and go to SQL Server 2014. We have configuration tools and we have SQL Server, not SQL Server, we have SQL Server 2014 Reporting Services Configuration Manager. Okay, how did I go? Go to Start, All Programs, and click on Microsoft SQL Server 2014, and you have to come down to configuration tools, and here we have SQL Server 2014 reporting tools. Clear? And click on this. Now it is asking where the SSRS is running. That SQL Server is running in my Kedar system, and click on connect. Now next one is that click on service account. So service account means which account I wanted to use it. Okay. So don't change anything here. Let it be there. So report server. If you change something here, automatically apply button get enabled. Otherwise, it will not get enabled. So don't change anything. Just as it is, let it be there. And in the companies, what they do is that they'll have a DBA and his username and password people are going to use. But here we are going to use report server. Don't touch and simply just come out of from this window and click on web service URL. So when you click on here, you should be able to have a virtual directory that is report server. I'm talking about the first one. So the first one in the diagram is report server. This one I'm talking about. So this is going to give you a end user URL. Okay. Now, when you go here, you may give any other name. For example, I wanted to have a James, or I wanted to have any other, John. You can also give any name here, so it doesn't matter. So, but normally we give a report server. This is the industry practice, report server, and click on apply. Okay. When you click on apply, it is going to configure HTTP. Kedar is my server and 80 report server that I wanted to use. So this is end user URL. Remember this. What is that? HTTP. So my server name is Kedar r/report server. Okay. And if I use this URL from my local system and instead of a Kedar, I can also say local host. This is also fine. So local host is available only within this laptop if I wanted to connect. So I have to go and check whether this is created, and we can also give port number, but that is not mandatory. So simply end user URL is this. Okay. Now when you go here and it's connected and click on apply, done. Then database. So I told you, you have to have two databases. One is the report server and report server temp DB. When you go here, you have database name report server is already created, and the report server you should be able to find out here. Okay. At the time of installation of your SQL Server software, it is going to create these databases. Okay. If the databases is not there, then you should be able to perform report server and report server temp DB. Lots of tables are available here. Okay, catalog, and you have keys, history, even lots of tables are available. Never play with this. And reports our temp DB also some permanent tables and which are part of this DB also. These two databases should be there. That means you have installed SQL SSRS in your laptop. Now you go there. If that is not there, then you have to click on change database. Now create a new report server database, click next, and Kedar or other computer name you can give, test connection, and succeeded. Click next, and you can also give different names. For example, I wanted to have report server new. So it is going to create report server new database and report server new tempdb database. You can have like that and click next and click next and click next. Okay. So if the databases are there, don't create the new databases. This is simply ignore this step and go to the next step in the wizard. Okay. So it is creating and click finish. Now when you go, you will be able to get two more databases. Report server is already there, so you can delete. This is not at all needed. Now you will have report server new temp DB, report server temp DB. Okay, so sorry. We can reports our new temp DB. Okay. So like that, reports our new temp DB is available here. So these are the new things I have created, and these are the old things that is completely deactivated from this. And once the database is ready, then you have to click on report manager URL. So this is the virtual directory reports. You can also give any name, James, anything here, and you have to click on apply. If the apply button is not enabled, you have to remove everything again, retype. If something is not there, retype the same thing and click on apply. You can also give any name here, but industry standards reports. Okay, follow the same thing here, and it's created. Now Kedar/reports. Now when I go for this URL is for the DBA URL, and here we'll say reports. Okay, reports, and this URL is also known as a report manager URL. Okay, report manager URL means this is the URL. So end user is going to connect to this, and the DBAs are going to use this URL to perform administrative activities. Now configurations, normally this wizards and everything we are not going to do in the production. Developer is not authorized person to perform this. DBAs have to do all these configurations, but we have to do in our laptops. We have to configure this. Otherwise, so this is only your responsible, and this portion is completely responsible for the DBAs. They have to configure. But if the DB is unaware of how to install and how to configure this, then as a developer you should be able to help them. So report server is not the under control of the developer. Developer will be only creating the reports. The remaining things he is not worried about it. Okay. So now you have to configure. Now when you go, you have email settings, and whenever you get a report in your mailbox, you have to get some from address. For example, from address I can say Citibank, or I can say Amazon. Amazon, say I can give some name here. Say John Amazon.com. So when you get a mail, and then the from address, you should be able to get a John@Amazon.com. This is not, John is not a person in Amazon, it is a machine. So machine is going to send all the reports to you, but when you reply, it will fail because John@Amazon.com need not be there. It is not a dummy address. And SMTP server, using which server you should be able to send the reports and all. 192.0.some. This is a dummy address. I don't have the real server, but this is how the people can configure the email settings and everything. And remaining things are not at all needed. Click apply and exit. Okay. So step number 1, service account. We did not change anything. Step number 2, report server. This you have to configure, and if apply button is not enabled, remove this and retype and click on apply. And database is there, then don't change, leave it as this. Then this one you have to again remove and rewrite and click on apply, and email settings you have to give like this and click on apply and exit. That's it. So now we have configured. Now the question is that when I configure, how does your laptop know that I have to give this report here? For that purpose, what we have to do, we have to give this URL, whatever the URL we are having. So now we are going to have this URL. So this URL, okay, need to be configured. So to all the developers. So this URL you have to take inside your designer, you have to keep this. Okay. So then, for example, you have 1,000 developers. All the developers are creating a reports. But when you deploy the report, how does your laptop know that my report has to go to that server only? It can go to any other server, right? So this address you have to give it to all developers. All developers, they have to go to their respective projects. Now I'm going there. Now this is my project. Go to design and go to solution explorer and right click on the project and properties. When you go here, so here target server URL. So you have to provide this URL. This is the end user URL. This you have to copy and you have to come down here, that you have to paste. Okay. Now, okay. Now target report folder. So we're talking about to say Amazon reports, right? So let me change this. Amazon says sales reports. Okay. Now override data sources and override data sets. These are, if you wanted to make it to true, and only important is that this have to be there. Remaining the target report folder and these two settings are not at all important. Only this is important. Now every developer in their laptops, they have to just come here and they have to go to properties, and this URL they have to make it. What is the URL I had given? So this end user URL. Don't give this URL. Give this URL. Okay. So that you have to configure when you build and deploy. Now, okay, when you build and deploy, what is going to happen? You have a build menu and then deploy menu. Building means, are there any syntax errors? So that is the thing it's going to do. Build. Now build succeeded. Now you go right click on this, then deploy. Once you deploy, it is giving you deploy started. Just check. Just to deploy started. Which will take some time. So always remember that it is only one time job. When you go here and configure your project for this report server configuration manager, all the reports when you deploy, the reports are going to go to, it'll take some more time, please wait. It is going to go to this report server only. Okay. It may be in your computer report server or in your network. So from your laptop, if you're deploying to some other server, that server and your laptop must be in the same network. Otherwise, you will not be able to deploy the reports. Need not be in your laptop itself. You may have one more computer also. Now it is deployed successfully. When you get this message, and you have to go to your Internet Explorer. Now you have to go here and copy paste the URL and enter. So now gather report server, click on Amazon sales reports. When you click on this, you are able to get the sales reports here, and which is available in the internet. Clear, guys? Now end user has to go to Chrome, or end user has to go to a different browser, and they should be able to get the things done without having any kind of an issue. Are you clear? Now the reports are quite impressive and report is very good. And the end user can also download the report. So MS Word, TIFF means JPEG format. So it is going to download the report. Now, however, you're downloading any kind of a file. So TIFF means image, save this. Okay. Now you should be able to see this. Now this is, page number 1, page number 2. You should be able to get these reports. Okay. So end user need not have anything, but how the how the DB is going to connect. So DB is always going to connect like this. And when you go to the reports, gather/reports, and now DB is going to connect to this. So it's taking some more time. And this is end user URL. So end user is not going to have anything here. So end user straight away, he should be able to connect to your reports like this. So all the reports are visible, but this you can change. The look and feel of this, you should be able to change by asking any HTML guy. So they will change this, or they can create these reports, or they can deploy the report in their existing web. Okay, so this is what is called a end user. This is the DBA URL. So DBA wanted to delete this something, he should be able to delete. So this is the folder name we had created. Now inside this, so this is the report you have deployed. So when you deploy the report as a developer, you should be able to deploy. But if you wanted to delete the report, you will not be able to, because you will not have permissions to come to this. So only the end user can see. End user cannot do anything. But even the developer also cannot do anything. You have to make a request to the DBA saying that I wanted to delete this report. So wrongly have given some other report, you please delete. So they have to come here and delete. So this is known as a report manager, where they can do lot of things over there. So you go here, you should be able to manage, give the security, delete, lots of things they should be able to do. And when you go here, and with the help of, for example, sometimes what's going to happen, customer says that I don't like the yellow color. Can you make it can you make some changes? You need not go to, again here and change the color and redeploy. And some modifications you should be able to do at the report manager level. So when you go here, when you click on and open this, you should be able to open a edit in report builder. So report builder is a web-based tool. So you should be able to see the report builder here. Using the report builder, you should be able to also create a reports. Also, this is a web-based tool. Okay, but this is part of report manager. With the help of DBA permissions only, we should be able to open this. Okay, if you wanted to tomorrow modify the report here, simply come here, edit in report builder. Okay, so DBA wanted to modify something. So a developer cannot come to this page because it is having user ID password. So using that help, you should be able to go. And it is first time installing something. And okay, so you need not go to the design always. So you should be able to modify only the look and feel. Some modifications, if you wanted to do it, you should be able to do it here itself. Okay, so Microsoft SQL Server 2014 report builder, it is saying, and it is a web-based tool. So tomorrow I wanted to modify the look and feel here. So just go here. I wanted to have the different color schema, and the font schema I wanted to have like this. Okay, what is this font? Font color is here, sorry. So font color is here. So I save the report. So now I go and automatically this is changed. Okay, so if you wanted to modify something here, you should be able to modify. But when you go here, this is what is the developer has created. Some modifications you should be able to also do, but with the help of DBA only. So lot many things we have here. And as of now, if you don't like this, delete. So if you wanted to create a caching and all, only DBAs can do that. So this is the report manager, and we will talk about this later. So end user is going to see like this. You have to go to Chrome, and you should be able to also see whether reports are able to, you're able to open the reports or not. Okay, so you're able to open this report fine. So click on this, and the next time onwards, you should be able to only deploy no more of configuration. So configurations only once. So next time onwards, only build and deploy. Why building? Building means are there any syntax errors available? If the syntax errors are not there, you should be able to deploy. A copy of the report will be going to this database, and whenever you view, what is going to happen, you should be able to get the data from the database, and you should be able to view the same data from here. Is it fine, guys? Any questions?